Good evening, I'm Bret. Baier. President Obama's efforts to build a broad coalition to help take up arms against ISIS terrorists are apparently running into massive resistance abroad and massive criticism at home. And this fuels concern that without broad support, it will be harder to keep his promise of no U.S. combat troops. Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry has tonight's top story.
French President Francois Hollande today joined the coalition against ISIS, ordering his military's planes to strike a logistics depot in northern Iraq, though it was made very clear to President Obama there are strict limits on France's support.
There are no French troops on the ground, only planes which, in liaison with Iraqi authorities and in coordination with our allies, are weakening the terrorist organization.
And the French will not help with airstrikes over Syria, forcing the president's national security advisor, Susan Rice, onto defense over whether the U.S. will now need two separate coalitions to deal with ISIS in Iraq and Syria.
I don't think we're going to have a bifurcated coalition. This will be a unified coalition. It's one operation. It'll be under a common command. And we will continue to welcome the involvement of partners who will make different contributions.
While the president continues to claim those contributions are swelling.
More than 40 countries, including Arab nations, have now offered assistance as part of this coalition.
In reality, much of that assistance is humanitarian and logistical. And though officials pin the responsibility for piecing together the coalition on retired General John Allen, military insiders say key allies are holding back commitments, waiting for the commander-in-chief to show he'll see the mission through the end.
I think this will take the president's personal leadership. Despite Secretary Kerry and General Allen and all the skills and reputation they have, the president's got to get in this game with our coalition partners if we're going to get them in this fight in any realistic way.
That game kicks into high gear next week when the president will spend 3 days in New York at the United Nations General Assembly meetings.
But is the president going to do this next week and build this coalition himself? Is he going to push it?
The president has been engaged in this effort for weeks now, and I'm confident that those efforts will continue at the UN, both in public settings and in private settings.
Despite those weeks of effort, the White House is struggling to get contributions of military support beyond France. One reason why Secretary of State John Kerry was at the UN today and again opened the door to Iran helping the coalition.
There is a role for nearly every country in the world to play, including Iran, whose foreign minister is here with us today.
Now, the Iranians also held talks today with the six world powers over its controversial nuclear program. Meeting only lasted an hour, which may be a sign of very little progress with this looming deadline of November 24th for Iran to curb its nuclear activities in exchange for sanctions being lifted. Bret?
Ed Henry live on the North Lawn. Ed, thank you.